Hi everyone, today we're talking about how you're going to finance your post-secondary education. So at the end of this video, you should be able to understand the three different main types: grants and scholarships, loans, and work studies, as well as what requirements and limits they have. Let's get started. So types of financial aid, the first we'll talk about is grants and scholarships. These do not have to be repaid. So this is fantastic. It's free money to help you earn a degree or a certificate. And these financial aid can be used at all three levels. So vocational schools, at community colleges, and at universities and colleges. Not all vocational schools will be able to use financial aid. You'll have to ask the school you go to, but most can. So at all these levels, it's a really good way to get some money. The first big grant we'll talk about is called the Federal Pell Grant. And this is based on financial need. It's money from the federal government to help you pay for school. In 2023-24, the max award was $7,400, about $74 a year. So that's a good amount of money that you can have. Then there's the FSEOG grant, and these are for people with extreme financial need. And this is up to $4,000, and it's on top of the federal Pell Grant. So here you could get $11,000 a year, depending on your family's income. Teach grants. These are more specific. So these are for education majors. So the federal government thinks that it's important to support the training of new teachers. But you have to agree to teach at a low-income school for 4 years after you graduate. So that's what you're committing to if you do a Teach grant. If you want to see a list of what schools are eligible for that, you might be surprised at the number and variety of schools there are. Here's a link, or you can just do a Google search for the eligible schools for a Teach grant. Do some research. And the last one we'll talk about is a really small one. So this is the Iraq and Afghanistan service grants. These are for students whose parent died in the Afghanistan or in Iraq or Afghanistan after 9/11. So a special set of grants for that. So those are the major grants we're talking about. Scholarships, you have to do research on your own for scholarships. There's lots of scholarships out there. You have to apply for them and try that. Also, schools, individual colleges, and not so much community colleges and trade schools, but a lot of them have their own internal scholarships at the schools that you can apply for as well. Types of financial aid. So the next big type, so grants and scholarships are the first type, you don't have to be repaid. The next big type are loans, and these have to be repaid. They're just like any other loan you might get, like a car loan or anything like that. The first we're going to talk about is called a direct subsidized loans. The student is the borrower. So as a student, you are borrowing the money yourself. Typically, they have a lower interest rate than personal loans, which is so right now about 6.5% interest, and there's no credit check, which is good because as a student, you're probably just starting off. You don't have a credit score anyway, so no credit check on these. The government so the word subsidized means that part of the loan's being paid for you, or something's being paid for you. In this case, what the government's paying for is the interest while you attend school. So they make the interest payment. So if you borrow $5,000 that first year while you're in school, the federal government will pay the interest on the loan, so the loan's not getting bigger over time. There's also no payments, so no monthly payments while you're in school. You don't start payments after you leave school. And you can borrow up to $5,500 a year depending on your eligibility. So that's a good amount. And the next one is a direct unsubsidized loans. So a subsidized loan, you're not paying interest while you're in school, and that helps you save money. An unsubsidized loan doesn't. So here the interest is added to your loan amount. So if you borrow $5,000 that first year, each year there's going to be 6% of interest added to that loan. It's going to get bigger while you're in school. Not by a lot, but a significant amount. And again, no payments while you're at school. So you just borrow the money, go to school. Don't make payments to you after you get out. There'll be a few months after when you get out. And then you can borrow up to a combined $20,000 a year, $20,500 a year in unsubsidized and subsidized. So if you get $5,500 in unsubsidized or subsidized loans, you can borrow an additional $15,000 in unsubsidized. You always want to borrow subsidized loans first because that interest is being paid for you, so you don't build up more interest than what you need to. So subsidize first and then fill in the rest with unsubsidized loans. All right, so those are the two main types of loans. There's a third type we're going to talk about, and this is where it's called a plus loan. The P in the plus loan stands for parent, and this is where your parent is borrowing money. And there will be a credit check, but the credit check's just looking for adverse events like foreclosures, delinquencies, those kinds of big things. So, but not for credit score necessarily. Payments are due while the student attends school. So unlike a student loan, the direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans, payments will start right away the first month. They have a higher interest rate than the student loans. These are right now they're at 9%, a little more than 9%. And the parents can borrow up to the cost of the schooling. So your school will know how much other financial aid you've gotten. They'll know what that final number is. Oh, you still owe $7,000. Your parents can borrow up to that full amount to help pay for school, but nothing more than that. The last type of financial aid we'll talk about, so the first one was grants and scholarships, don't have to be repaid. Loans have to be repaid. Work study jobs. These are jobs that you can get on or near campus or from like a local nonprofit. The school will help you find these jobs. So what this does, the amount can be earned and it's based on financial needs. So you might get an award of $5,000 in work study. When I got mine, I thought, I'm going to get $5,000 right away. That's awesome. That's not how it works. So what you do is you can earn up to $5,000 at that job during the school year. So it's earned by working a job. It's not just given to you. The reason they do this is it's really hard to employ students because they have these weird schedules. You kind of work around them and be flexible with them. So a lot of employers don't want to hire college students for their jobs because there's just too much hassle in doing it sometimes. So a work study job, the federal government actually pays part of your salary. So all of a sudden you're a very attractive hire because you're much cheaper for that business to have working with you. And that's why they keep it to usually on-campus type stuff. All right, so that's it for the types of financial aid that we'll be talking about this year. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was clear. Let's do some practice.